Hey everyone, wanted to sum up day 4 of teaching the high school seniors. Just as a brief summary, day 1, we talked about the differences between an asset and a liability, some of the work habits of work to learn before you work to earn, finding a great mentor and learning best practices. Day 2, we talked about budgets and living on best practice so that you're not house poor or car poor, and how poor, middle class, and financially independent value money. Day 3, we talked about how to house hack and teaching these 18-year-olds the laws that have changed on lending for house hacking for that Gen Z. And then today, so we went into detail on that of how they could live in it almost cost-free other than the down payment. Sorry, my video moved here. Then today, day 4. So what I wanted to share with them is the book, many of y'all have read Cash Flow Quadrant, and just expanded back out and talked big picture of how investors make their money is staying on the right side of the quadrant. We talked about employees and how much taxes they pay. The self-employed pay even more taxes, but those that have portfolio or business income only pay about 20%. And those of us, you and I, that are investors in real estate, we typically pay 0%, and that the tax code is written for that right side, the B and I columns, that they pay very little income tax, and how the largest expense we have is income tax. On the employee and self-employed side, how taxes are taken out first, both taxes, Social Security, then your expenses, and then what's left, that little amount, is excess cash flow. And how on the right side, as us as investors of real estate, the income comes in first, then we have our expenses, then we have the wonderful depreciation, and if there is any tax, we pay tax on a much smaller portion and have a much larger excess cash flow. So I was sharing a lot of that, and then I talked a little bit about the math of time and showing on a graphic chart where maybe you're starting out at $200 in excess cash flow, and over a decade, 15, 20 years, it gets higher and higher because you have a mortgage on it that's a fixed rate 30-year financing. And so I showed the rents going up, the cash flow going up, operating expenses as the property ages goes up a little bit, but the largest fixed cost, the mortgage, stays the same, which allows your excess cash flow to grow, that it's not the first year. It's the beauty of time of having these for over 10 years and how it grows that cash flow. Then I talked about the 5 ways you make money in real estate, talking about the cash flow, showing them on a graph, a chart, the principal pay down of the loan. So I drew that out over 30 years. Then we talked about taxes and the tax benefit of not having to pay income tax if you have leveraged debt on the property. Forced appreciation, if you're buying a property and putting some effort into it to make it better, or you're doing the build to rent like I'm doing, that forced appreciation. And then finally, natural appreciation. We talked about all those things. The big discussion was the cash flow quadrant, the employee, self-employed, business or portfolio income, and investor income, and how little you pay on that right side on the investor income, almost zero most of the time. And so these were big concepts, things they've never heard of before. And so we talked a lot about that, and they're starting to ask more and more questions, because even a couple of them have heard this from me. There was 2 in the class that have heard this from me before, and they even raised their hand. They said, you know what, I'm starting to understand what you're talking about more. And I said, hey, none of us fully understood it the first time we heard it. that it does take multiple times for you to really absorb it. And so I'm trying to get them on the house hack model to start as their first, where they're going to be living when they're done with school and their first career job, to get on that property ladder and start it with both where they live, but a portion of it being investment income. So we talked about those things, and it was a great conversation today. Tomorrow, now we're going to zoom back in a little closer, and I'm going to show them the investing in 401k or investing in that same duplex that I used as the example for yesterday and making it just a straight investment property, and the differences in the return and how the advantages are with making money 5 ways with real estate. So till tomorrow, talk to you later.